no pe wadom ye na ye de dwumadie e de aba wa kwan we fidiem baby biara owo obetumi ahwe yen wo Facebook so ye wo GN Radio Facebook ye sanso e wo YouTube ye wo Bwf Solicitors so Facebook sanso na uko Bwf Solicitors for so Facebook ye sign e wo ho na chese social handles ni nyina no ye wo hobby and yeah that near funny says so TV na no pay what did Jim will fear dear and you to me show on YouTube sound so there na I say or last so now this baby a free demo sound so say wo drive there and ya obet to me there to tune in radio so na wetie yen wo tune in so GN Radio tune in obet to me etie yen na baby bia wo bia se phone so na obet to me access ya and ya obet to me sa na obet to me etie tune in ana say Facebook ana YouTube so se ne be ya obehu ana obetie ne ekoso nyina fefefe menua adofo enuanom adofo a ehyiemu anope ya baby biara wotie mu mesa adawase mama o maache se ewia bo a mese ma ha adenso asan ne wa wonimo nchia kese na mede ebremo anope nyame ayen adom saa ma yensa ka ye lawyer baako yete ne nka che lawyer baako a o cheche ne memu a I say ujina queen enim na we explain ho na chese uchiremu fito ono your friend lawyer Patrick munyina mo benhu a lawyer Patrick nenim de ye soronko kra na ene yensa aka no yakotwe na aba say yete ne nka che nti ene oni ye mbetwetwe enkomo na enkomo a ebetwetwe enkomo ben yedaso ekra yiyu nsemsem yimu yedaso ekremu esan say senia ekoba ye fiti 2020 December no ahopepre na yesi ebetwemu ye free mo brezitio chese nsem ne huhuran nanso yakwa ye be free mo ampa ye free mo nkra ye sama ye solid 2 years say ye mfa ntwetwe ye ho ye maye some few months ye mfa ntwetwe ye ho sanso na after 2020 no yesam ma yensen 6 solid months say yemfa ntutu ya namu ayi na enokra no still no ebimo omantumi anyeye ye nneoma ebimo nso tumi yeye ebimo nso guso anso omo ye ebimo nso aka omonsa omoncard omonsa aka ebimo nso so de uhu say ye ko say ye bo ni nyina yesi anomentu a yebeka obuare si ogina ho enti no chese ensam yeyu nsam ne de edosi yie na ene yenya lawyer Patrick ye pese ye sane ne fifemu kakra se sesia no yeyu abusuafo no a yesi ye free mu obi obroni beka ye wo ebusua reunion se wo ye yiyu ni ukita yiyu passport wo ye yiyu busuani na still o pese wo ma wo maame ana wo papa eye direct family no etumi besraw anampo omombeka wo ho no still akwanya ewo ho ne UK omolo no etre ne se yiyufo no ye firi mu kra no ade efre no ebusua de omunyi ebusua emma nti se ne etie bia so ye obi ye webusuani a omema akwanya say webusuani de webusuani ye direct family me can direct na chese womba o maame ne wo papa ene wo kunu no ani direct no wo kunu ni aye indirect o maame o auntie ye indirect wo fase wo nieces omonyina ye indirect but we dey can direct ebi so anase ni ametire mu no ento waso ma mo de mama worry lawyer Patrick ewa ha obecheche ye mu fito se ni ameka ye me se fi waso na tie na obenya ntiase na akwanya da ho a still obetumi enam so na wo de akofa webusuafo aba anase omobedum po a nioma esese odi tutu oma akwan mu na omoye eno na ene ye ba bedi ho nkita nti menu adofo join me mesremo mamu nko bebia mun join me why na me nso enye me dese me ba munya me ho abotre na mo behwe me nyame nhyira obi bia na yafe de yenko ahoma ne so. Yo, good morning, Lawyer Patrick.
Yes, good morning, Manye. Now, Apomo to say.
Yes, adumo nkwa ni ahweye nkitinkiti bi no. Ye gu sukre mu. Ampacho se Bwf Solicitors team ne nyina nso te apo yi pa.
Nyame adom team ne nyina obia ho ye, obia so de ne nchia kese pa ema GN
Yo, yeah, that's it. MC voice no. Pacho otemenka, mekasa otemenka.
Pacho, yes, me tonka, yeah.
Okay, sanetie. Yo, la Patrick, send ye tie ne ja. Ye hu wache nti no ye be lay down we bi kakra ne se adesua no ye ba ye cheche ye hu se ya na ye cheche adofo a na afedie ya kekaka se update bi wo ho a na wo de aboye nsa update bi anso ni ho na mmre ni nti no nso no na ja na ya sha se na mom na main topic aye we ye be di ho nkoma na edu ba bi a ye be bo ne tofa bi e wo potokase mu se ne be ya ye nuanom amowo I mean neighboring countries na omo de omo nti yen kromo kasa especially twi kasa no na omo nso omo nya sa nimde no enti no mem pese wo be flow na maybe say bisa me questions nso alongside senior o kasa na question bi pop up me bisa na mom edu ba bia na fe mama o sa akwenya no na wo the potokasa no need the whole nutshell of the whole education today no na wo the abreye wo potokasa bunti Lawyer Patrick pacho me de akwenya na ma chicha adofo na afede yenko.
Right, okay. So,
Mente kasa no crowd. Kasa nemba, yesi kasa nemba. Enti me producer Mr. say otie ye a yenti Lawyer Patrick nka.
sound no amaye na yahwe.
Afe na mete nka.
Afe wo de otemenka.
Afe de mete nka.
Pacho otemenka na.
Patron se de mete nka yi radio for no so te nka.
Right, okay, great. Enti said na America no said odi kan no I think say ye share pa but nyame ya adom na we bie kwan ama yetimi share enti ye de enchia kese every Bwf Solicitors asue at the bre ye tiefo ene ahwefo nyina omo hwe ye 8 years abre yenim se dwumadi ye kwa yi dodo na ehwe e wo wiase afa na nyina it doesn't matter what the time is e wo be bia omo wo no yenim se omo nyina ehwe ye sabre nti ye chia omo nyina ye do omo ya fe omo na ye nije se anopai omo ne ye hia se ye metwetwe nkomo na ye ndi ehu ye hu nkomo na ye mfa enioma so entutu ye manye.
Yo, me da se Lawyer Patrick etiefo se ne ekono saa na ne eto aso no nso no na na agima nyame nhyira o Facebook mo amutie o Facebook and YouTube no ye kan se gina edu say dokasadum Tilly Duma Alice Fojo Margaret Edumensa Fred it said dudona abaso sa se ne amoye ne de bia no me hu se ma share sa nso bon koso ana mon share na yo okay Lawyer Patrick let's continue this way and like I explained earlier on if it's possible the main topic that we've got today if you can explain it in a nutshell in English for us then afterwards we'll translate or divert the language into Twi language then we can go ahead with it. So I'm going to throw it back to you. I know it's UU family reunion after the Brexit or after the deadline that was given to us previously. So, Lawyer Patrick, over to you once again.
Right. Okay. So thank you so very much, Manya, and good morning to our viewers and listeners all across the globe. It's been a while. Thank God we're back with you this morning. I'm pretty much sure you're all tuned in, and we're going to be discussing a lot of things today. Hopefully, you'll have learned a lot of lessons by the time we finish with this program. Now, to start with, I'm going to have to start with a few updates that's come up this year. And I will start off with the case that is come up recently, 2021, and that is the case of NA Bangladesh, which my senior colleague and partner, Lawyer Eunice, discussed in depth yesterday on Rainbow Radio. Now, this case is about the 7-year rule, and I suppose listeners and viewers would pardon me for assuming that you're all aware of what the 7-year rule is all about. More so when you have been listening to this program for all of these years and the teachings that you've been following with my senior partner and principal, Lawyer Bernard Owusu. So forgive me if I assume that you know, but then if not, in a nutshell, what it is about the 7-year rule is that since the changes in the immigration rules from 2012, there's been a provision for children who are born here in the UK and have lived the first 7 years of their lives in here. There's been a provision for them to be able to apply to stay in the UK. And following from that, their parents who are also living in the UK without any leave can then rely on those children to apply for a permission to stay in the UK, including even siblings who are also living here illegally. So that's been the position from that period of time to we're speaking now. Now, the Home Office's position has always been that it is reasonable for a child who is lived here for 7 years to be returned back to their country of origin, if indeed the parents are going to be having to be moved back. So we've had that for all of these years, and through other cases that has come and gone. So the cases of MA, the cases of KO, and all other cases that have come and gone. That has been the position. That's not changed. But then we can see from the guidance to Home Office staff that, this has been inserted in their guidance that if a child is lived here for the first 7 years of their life, then we would basically look to see whether or not it would be reasonable to expect that child to be moved back into their country of origin. Now, in most of the cases where it is found that it is unreasonable, then the Home Office is required to grant this child leave to remain. Now, the focus has always been on the child and not the parents. The reason I say that is that now sometimes the Home Office would look to see the immigration history of the parent, and then would say, well, because of your immigration history, which is precarious, it'd be reasonable to move the child, and then for that matter, you as the parent as well. Now, since the advent of this case, many have questioned whether or not the 7-year rule is redundant. And so we come to tell you that it is not redundant, and that this still really applies, because the guidance still holds, and it is not being extracted from the guidance. It's not been extracted from the immigration rules. Now, the immigration rules under paragraph 276 is where we find this, and those provisions are there, and they still hold from when it was inserted to date.
So indeed, the advice is that even after the any Bangladesh case 2021, if you are living in the country, if you're here illegally and you have a child who was born here and they've lived here for the first 7 years of their life, then indeed you can make an application to the Home Office to regularize your stay. And note, the child not necessarily should have been born here in the country, but then that also captures, or if you like, encapsulates children who have been brought here from abroad, but then have lived here for the first 7 years of their lives. So, you know, that is the position currently, and that's just in a nutshell. I'm sure it will take time to come and really digest this properly when the time allows. The other case that has come up recently is a case called Munga. Now, Munga is a Mauritius national who was granted visitor's visa to come to the UK. He came in April 2011 and then returned back to Mauritius and then made an application for a student visa, which was granted, and then he came back. So he came back and then after that renewed his visa every other time until such time then he was due for indefinite leave to remain. Now along the line, he was refused a few times. He faced problems with the Home Office applying for indefinite leave to remain, and he couldn't get through with it. Now, this is going to court and is going to the Court of Appeal eventually, and the court is ruled. So it is to ask the question whether the 10-year lawful residence can count from when Mr. Munga was first granted visitor's visa to come to the UK, whether or not we can count the 10-year lawful residence from that period. The Home Office's position is that, no, you couldn't do that because, of course, the visitor's visa is not a visa that guarantees you any leave to stay here for a permanent period of time. And so to that effect, Mr. Munga couldn't say that he's lived here continuously, because if your leave would have to be continuous, there shouldn't be a break. And for the fact that Mr. Munga had returned back to Mauritius to apply for the student visa, then of course, the position of the Home Office is that his leave at the time was broken, and to that effect, he couldn't count the 10-year lawful residence from that period. Judge Stuart Smith, who sat on the case, said, no, you're wrong. We're not going to accept that. The position is that Mr. Munga had an expectation, a reasonable expectation to obtain a visa to come back. And so he's gone back to Mauritius to obtain the visa and had come back to continue his stay here in the UK. And to that effect, the 10-year lawful residence could be counted from when he first came into the UK with the visitor's visa. So if you'd like, this is a very, very good case. And so we could all begin to count our 10-year lawful residence going back from when we probably got a visitor's visa to come into the UK. Now, there are a few things that you need to note, and that is that with this case, we realized that Mr. Munga at some point had overstayed his visa for 22 days. Nonetheless, the judge didn't want to have to look at that. He basically looked at it and then obviously disposed it of. So these are the two cases that I think our listeners and viewers would want to take notes of, as it would be very helpful going forward, especially the NA Bangladesh case, which has brought a bit of confusion in the minds of people who are questioning whether or not it is still effective and we can still rely on the 7-year rule. So that's just basically to bring you up to speed where we are with these cases that have come through. Now, if Manye is still there,
Yes, I
then
am
I suppose
still here.
I would jump in straight away if I'm allowed
Lion
into our
Patrick.
topic for this morning.
Okay, Lawyer Patrick,
Yeah,
thank
so
you
this
so much.
morning we're talking about EU law yet again, and
Lawyer
the
Patrick.
reason is very, very simple. I think Manya's come back in there. I don't know whether you wanted to say something.
First of all, I was just thanking you for the update that you gave us. I think with this particular update, we have to find a particular day and a time to digest this thing, because the 7-year rule and this Bangladesh and the Mauritius Monga case, it really needs time for you to go through vividly for the viewers and listeners to have a flavor of what actually has transpired and why they can have a case like that. So I think well, I would say well done for that explanation. Now, secondly, we are going to talk about the family reunion after the Brexit. So let's begin this way. Lawyer Patrick, we know they've given us time to make such applications. Yes, the time has gone, and they gave us grace period. The grace period is way gone a few months ago, and still afterwards we are still getting the idea that, or whatever the Home Office is saying, that we can still have an opportunity somewhere, like I saw in your statement, when one door closes, another one opens. So let's see, how do these EU nationals and the families, what will be the process for them to join their families after this Brexit? So we can begin from here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much once again, Manyeti, and I hope our viewers and listeners are all still hooked up with us and are glued to their sets and listening to us. Now we move on to EU law and what the position is at the moment, since the deadline date of June 2021. I suppose you'd appreciate that the June 2021 is not just the one deadline date that we've had, but then you can appreciate back in December 2020, we mentioned that 31st of December was going to be the deadline for EU nationals and their family members who are seeking to come in. So that very particular date was for EU nationals who were seeking or looking to come and then reside here in the UK. And then since that, if you were here in the UK, then you were required to make an application to the Home Office under the EU settlement scheme, or if you like, Appendix EU. And so that June deadline was for those who were here as at the time, or those who had been granted some sort of residency here under the EU rules back then in the UK. Now, there's been a whole lot of discussions going on around town, and what people want to know is whether or not, because the June deadline is now passed, the EU law is stopped to apply to EU nationals and their family members. We say no, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, that the EU law and its application and EU migration is going to go on for a very long time to come, because there's still a lot more which is got to be done. So for instance, there are people who have made applications and are waiting on decisions. There are people who have been refused and are going through the appeal processes. And so all of these people, you'd appreciate, would have some sort of claim to the EU right when it comes to that time. And so it would take a very long time for us to, if you like, jettison the EU migration rules. And to that effect, what we're saying is that the rules still apply. And so if you're an EU national and you have a spouse, or you have a child, or you have a parent who is back home in a third country outside the UK, then you're still permitted, you're still allowed to make an application for this family member to join you here in the UK. And it doesn't matter the deadline date, which was June 2021, or the deadline date, which was December 31st, 2020. Now, with a December deadline, all that is required is that you, the EU national, should have been here in the UK and would have made an application under the EU settlement scheme and been granted either leave to remain, which is pre-settled, or indefinite leave to remain, which is a settled status. That would put you under the category of those that we call relevant EU nationals. So bear in mind with that one. Now, again, if you're here and you have been given leave to remain under the scheme, you can also go and then bring your partner or your children, because since the advent of the Appendix EU and the EU settlement scheme rules, what the Home Office has done is that they have moved people who are on the 5 years limited leave to remain into the EU immigration, into the domestic immigration rules. And so where we have people joining their spouses who are British nationals or are settled here in the UK and are here with indefinite leave to remain, humanitarian protection leave, and all of those leaves. Now, if you're EU national, and say, for instance, you missed the opportunity to form a relationship with your partner who is outside the UK, you haven't lost out. And the reason being that because you have been granted leave to remain, you can still make an application under the immigration rules to basically get your family members to come and join you here in the UK. And this is very unique in the sense that from what we know from under the immigration rules, you could only bring your spouse if you had indefinite leave to remain, or if you were a British citizen, or you were settled here in the UK of some sort. But now we see that even if you have 5 years limited leave to remain, for especially EU nationals and their ex-family members, if you have limited leave to remain, the rules now allows you to be able to go and then marry your partner who is in Ghana, who is in Nigeria, who is anywhere else in the world, but is living or is a third country national. So if you're that sort of person, then you can make an application to go and then bring your wife, which is very, very good for all of us, because then if you thought that you couldn't do it, now you know that you can do it. The only thing that you need to do is that you have to meet the same requirements as those of us who are British nationals and were seeking to go and bring our family members from outside the UK. And so what are the requirements then? The requirements are that you should be somebody who is earning at least, if it's just your partner that you're seeking to bring into the UK, you should be somebody who is earning at least 18,600. And this is where the dynamics are, because obviously you appreciate that under the EU rules, you were not required to meet any financial requirement. This is not the case with this one. And I'm sure you'd be very grateful knowing that even if you have a 5-year limited leave to remain, the rules allows you to bring your family members into the UK. So that's a bonus for you. So the other thing you need to be sure that you meet is that you need to meet the accommodation requirement. Your partner that you're bringing in needs to meet the English language requirement at least level A1. If they're good enough, they could do a B1, and then they would need to do a TB test as well if they're coming in. The other thing is that you would have to have met this person. Okay, so that's one of the rules in this under this immigration rule. You should have met this person. So whereas back then with the EU law, yes, you're on the WhatsApp chatting, you're on social media platforms chatting, and so that was fine. And that this immigration rules, you should have met this person. And meeting this person is not communicating over the phone or on social media. Meeting this person is actually meeting them face to face. So please take note of that. Now, once you've done all of these things and you've basically ticked all of these boxes, then yes, you can say yes, your partner can come and join you, including any children of your partner who are seeking to come with you. Just that if you're looking to get your partner's kids here, i.e. your stepchildren here as well, then your salary per annum would increase depending on how many children you're looking to bring into the country. So take note of that. Now, that's for the EU nationals who've been given limited leave to remain or indefinite leave to remain. But the door is still not shut, and so you can still do that. Even under the EU immigration rules, there's still room for you to be able to make the application. But the caveat is you should have formed your relationship with your partner before the deadline date of the 31st of December 2020. If that fails, you have an exit through the immigration rules to go and then see your partner in Ghana. If you've met them already back then and you knew them even before you relocated, that will still be enough to say that you know this person. Okay. Now, if you're a family member, ex-family member, say for instance, you're somebody who was granted limited leave to remain as a family member of EE national, and now you have divorced, you've gone through the process, and now you're your own person because your marriage didn't work, and now you're by yourself. But then you've been granted limited leave to remain, or you've been granted settled status or indefinite leave to remain. What I have just discussed would apply to you as well. So if you're somebody who's retained their rights and now you're living by yourself, you found somebody outside the UK, you formed a relationship, you know them, you've seen them, and you want them to come and join you, the same rules as I've discussed with the EU nationals would apply to you. So you need to tick all of the boxes. You meet the financial requirement, accommodation, and your wife should meet the English language test. You should have met all of those requirements would apply to your case as well. So please take note of that. It's a very good thing that has happened, and we need to take advantage of it. It never used to be the case that if you're here with limited leave to remain, that you'll be able to go and then get your partner to come and join you. And it's still the case, indeed, that those of us here with 2.5 years limited leave to remain are still not allowed to bring our partners here into the UK. And so that's why it's very, very good news that we take this thing very seriously. So please take note of that. Again, if you have a child in the UK who has a limited leave to remain under the EU rules, under Appendix EU or under the EU settlement scheme, again, you can make an application for leave to remain here in the UK. You may probably have a direct access to that child. You will still be allowed to live in this country. However, a bit of a caveat there with somebody who's got direct access to a child who has limited leave to remain, or if you'd like, pre-settled status under the EU settlement scheme. This would be based on purely Article 8 maneuvers and then sprinkling a bit of spices on it to make it very solid so that you can go through smoothly. So please take note of these dynamics in the game, and that's why we come here all the time to discuss these things with you, because they're very, very dear to our heart. And like my senior partner and principal would always say, We don't come here discussing any subject at all. We normally come to discuss them with you because the issues that have come in front of us and people have asked questions, people are in doubt. And so we come so that we can all share and then we can all take advantage of what the system is offering. So please take notes of these things and make sure you can make the application to live in the UK. If you have a child who is living here with a limited leave to remain under the EU settlement scheme and you're all living together, you can make the application. Even if it's your stepchild, you can still make the application and use Gen 3.1 and Gen 3.2 to make your application, citing all the reasonableness. And bear in mind, we have the exceptions as well, EX1A and ES1B, which you could apply to your case as well. So take note of these things. Now, those of you who have made applications, especially under the immigration rules, under the EU immigration rules, who are still expecting decisions. Yes, they're still coming in. If you've been refused, please, please, please don't relent and take a step. You would have to take a step. You would have to make an application to appeal against the decision. We have seen numerous of horrendous decisions come through from the Home Office. Some of them are very, very flimsy, especially someone tells you your signature doesn't match the one in your passport. So
yes,
your passport's got a different signature and your marriage certificate's got a different signature. Now, that is absolutely non-starter for us. So we're saying if you're somebody who has been refused on that basis or any other basis at all, please go and speak to a lawyer. Go and speak to somebody who understands what they're doing. Go and speak to somebody who knows what they're doing. Please don't meet someone in a car park and then sit in their car back seat or in their boot and then begin to complete application form.
Exactly.
I have not heard of the lawyer's job now being made door to door. So please be careful if someone drives to your house or drives to a car park and then gets you to meet them to complete your application. I'm not saying if somebody does that or if somebody's done that, they're not a qualified person or they're not allowed under the SRA rules to be able to do that. But then what I'm saying is that you have to be very cautious if you're dealing with somebody like that. Because obviously, if they have a proper setting, an office, then why would they want to meet you in a car park? And then if you're meeting in a car park, then be certain that the person you're meeting in the car park is qualified and has got the ability and the skills to do your job.
Thank you so much, Lawyer Patrick. What a wonderful advice given to them. I know a whole lot of people fall into victim with this kind of act and they don't realize how do you go and meet a lawyer at McDonald's. They're not about. Yo, Lawyer Patrick, thank you so much for such a wonderful and vivid explanation based on what you've just said. That Sisiano, you be change alcohol. We were kasa ye flow ye ewu ene ye nkromu kasa na nkrofo bibisa na na lawyer kan brofo bebrebe say me dey kan explain it say lawyer ba obeni o person or educate no be kan brofo kakra say na be ya foforo a omonti ye kromu twi kasa no omonso mbeti ase lawyer Patrick yeah that say menim say ni awa kan no ebi mo nso bepe se ubeka ne kakra ewo yentwi kasa ni mo na etiefo aha no mesra mu kakra se me ma lawyer kwan se onsa ne okan ni nyina onsan kan ni nyina nso otwi mu a emre no beko obeka de but ne empese ye ni se me bisa ho nsem kakra na wasa odi chire mu na afedie na odi eno nso explanation ni erere mu se ne be ya will kill you can say two birds with one stone. Not just say ye the nina na yetumi beat time so. Lawyer Tama o Kasano bibi fam mitimu kakra. Near the kind, I wrote about 4 or 5 questions that may person me visa based on what you've just told us. Near the kind, I will update the mono. Now, oh, can be say 7-year rule no say akolano ye mano o apply parent no na akoba say akwala no oni bi no na just say ni parents susu eni bi because say na oni bi ntina wawo akwala oni bi na afedi anyame adom wenya 7 years nti wetumi apply bibi e de ama no enti say akwala nya 7 years na wetumi apply na ye de bibi ne ma na lawyer wo so maame na papa no mutumi gina akwala no so e de nyamode ana mpacho obetumi abọ no tofa wo ha.
Yes, man, yeah. So penalty here. So we more na yes 7-year rule application na. Kamia koye say aya na awo form na pre-bibi na emum yes say o pese oni nyame kasa o the fact the double Jesus Christ so. Into the fa enkwala no so more or less if you like. Into no sa na akoye enkwala no 7-year rule no say o ya application no kra na more as a busiana munina munni stay no mubetimi munina moye if say more a ho akade na eno so de yenim say uni a ho akade no kra na you make provision say ubetimi aye fee waiver application into yes awo follow betimi aye na nkwala omo so ka ho a omuni leave to remain no omo nyina so betimi aka ho aye sa application no na ya ma omo stay the SSC actually say a very unreasonable say akwala no ye beka so on free kroma because rules is or a qualifying child now sa child no betimi ayo obi a or British citizen obi a what's now kroma 7 years I won't have from life and also obi a or akwala we free ebi a amanone na waba betna 7 years ni now or under 18. Obisu a yamano limited leave to remain under the EU settlement scheme. Omunina sisiano omo qualify under the definition of a qualifying child under 117D of near 2002.
Okay. Yo lawyer yedas ne di kan for munkoso anamo nhye maye maybe telephone lines na to musisi just in about the next 2 to 3 minutes maybe atom. Lawyer afenso no tama o ka say wo pese wenya indefinite na leave to remain na wo pese wo kofa wo ho kafo de ba no na sisi rule na ka say you should meet them eno na ye de abeka wo den ni say or say wo meet no na ansa na ade ni bedi mu na wetumi dia ye application no na lawyer memfa ne say me ni pay a me pese me nkofa ne emba no meeting them no or say a year after ya mama indefinite na say before because mbia na me or evidence say me na twetwa mfoni bi da da bi gugugu ya da ke mu kire say na me ne bobra kakra nsa na me ba kromu a nyoma kire say nyoma akoso kakra nti me osa small photo evidence ne kire say o ye twetwa photos ya kokko party ya nyoma na mo me ba ye na afi na menya indefinite no na mpese me kofa no or say meeting him or her no must it be after I've obtained my status or before mpacho ho no betumi achichirem kakra man.
Yo man meeting this person no and yes after now said before and one say was so like you said no all photos and I said oh bibi say nipa unim da ebia na sebe na oyo bia oni na hihye ho a ma plan sen ka ebia mo be ware na ebia bibinti no oni tu kwan na oba UK oba ye no sebe eniema ankoyi nti obetena ha cheye na akwantu mu nsam nti no muntam etete because wa wontimi nkowachi ono so a ontimi ma ha nti no na relationship no akoye distant na nam so ama entumi engina na muja nti so hwa saa nipa we no wahia ne dada unim ne dada oyobi a oni ne wo ho dada na mumu atete ebi so ana nte saa ba ebi a nipa yi munyini bomu muko school bomu anase na oni ne tem potamu pu a na mudi agro bomu mu ye bibia bomu nti unim no munim ho dada mahwia bomu kopim se wuti kwa ba abrotie wo evidence no ho ebi so a wobenya on krata e kwa no wakọ back wakọ hia nipa oni ne won kitamudie mu bon komo makika nneɛma si ani ama ɛnɛn no you've rekindled your relationship nti saa afọ no nyinaa no obetumi aka sɛ wahyia nipa na ampa sɛ oni ne wɔ hɔ a anaasɛ biribi wɔ hɔ a ɛwɔ mo ntam afei na ma rekindle anaasɛ ɛnɛn mahu sɛ modɔ mo ho nti mo pɛ sɛ mo ware na mo ware na mo fa so na sɛnea mmara no ma ho kwan no mopɛ sɛ moka bom na mobɛtena UK sɛ abusua baako.
Yo, medase. Ene ato aso no nso sɛ me nso so mpɛ sɛ mekofa ye ka ne sen me ka me nso ana me ka is just figuration speech bi na me ka. Sɛ mbia me nso me wa ha sɛ me any 18 nanso me ne sa na me ho kafo adom ono wo Ghana no edwuma a ono ye no na che say ono ne sika no ya de media kra kan bom be 3 or 4 times or any more than me. However no ye pese ye worry but ono ne nim de no anase na adwuma na oye ne nti no ontumi betena ha like afibo or obetumi aba se oba ne yere ho embia obedi 3 months 4 months na osan akọ enam adwuma a wa establish wo fie nti na che say ono no obi beka sika na etemu wo fie kakra na eno sa no na me won krata na me de ko ware no se me sika ne endu 18 whatever na ono betumi nso a obetre se ono nso edimu wo sika wo se e de asoso ama na yeyi ama ware na akoso anase chinchina mia na o se me earning that amount or that figure no ansa na ware ne betumi ayeyi anane nkrata ne betumi ayeyi na wabeka me ho wa ha mpacho.
Right. Okay. So 2 things from the wakasisi and it's number 1, person who said usika no senso a na se ohukani na wahia no na dwuma dɔɔso na enu ti no ebi emfa sɛ oyebi a wasɛte a companies bebree nti wo sika bebree obetumi ayusu eno a dabi emna no ma ho kwan sa nti ɛwo na wo ha no ɛna sɛ o kyerɛ sɛ o meet sa financial requirement no. Now, emra no sa ma ho kwan sɛ wo ha na empo o meet sa requirement no na emom bibi wo wabrabom ebi a yare bi wo wabrabom anase chima bi bibi ta chima bi wo wasetena mu enti no ebi a o da benefit particular benefit bi so a emra no ma ho kwan sɛ obetimi ayusu sa benefit no e de make application ama ho kani no aba be count sa nti obi ti sɛ obi a oje bibi a friend no PIP personal income benefit no obetimi aye ene omo disability living allowance so ene sa benefits ni nyina no ye benefits o so na say unya 18,006 na obetimi aye sa application no ama ho kani no aba be count sa. Now the second strand of a question no eye ade a em say obisa but enye ade a ubisa no knowingly ntino ma menkyere no sɛ ukoka kyerɛ home office sɛ me ware ama me kunu aba na oba obedi ha na kakra no wakɔ yɛ n'adwuma no wasa aba I'm afraid nyade a home office obefiu because you should have the intention sɛ mo ware no nipa na ɔba no mo betena krom ha na mabɔbra so ade a ɛsesɛ wo hyɛ no nso enya dia ye ma visa na waba ha abebu no tot na wasa akọ Ghana akọtọ adwuma so ye dey ma dia then ye dey ma on the basis say mo me no you have the intention say mo betna krom ha UK na mabomobra. That is the basis upon which your visa would be granted intino and koyese me ba na masako pacho debi
Yo la Patrick da so ube bubu ne tot obehwe egu so kakra na okọ You're for maybe a telephone lines no you may dear ye the legal hour and ye can you honsem kwanya obefa so after Brexit no still over to me akofa webusu ni e dia ba empo se o hadada na wawo akwala nso a wedi mfie nson a ono nso so obetumi ejina ne so e de aye ebusuafo e ka ho nyina nso betumi ejina ne so na omo na chese mbia ono o first born na wenya 7 years na echire no wawo be mienu miense bia ka ho a wo ne papa ne nyina mo ni bi na nso mo first born obi be kse ono na obeda ne koko e de amamo atwitwa mo nyina na ode agye mo enti sa na etie open ho akwanya na Fre Bwf Solicitors for our 7 sisters na omone o endi hu komo na afede omonye saya dwumedie no enfama asa osaka lawyer saka say ex-UU family members no omonso ometumi di omobusuafo ye kan ex-UU family members a lawyer acheche mu potokasa ni mo monso mo di mabusuafo metumi di mabusuafo aba kromo aba betnasi ma boni bie ni ho eno ani say ubeye such application because there are so many cases they are working on no mo hu ye kan say questions name nkrofo nsem omo bisa no na omo de ahwe na omo ka se ne omo nye saade ima yiyufo nti no find ho afei upese wo apply so oba for settled status and pre-settled status no sa a period na ye no say wo ha anase unya no after April somewhere is it 23rd or so no eno lawyer nka me na me de ka ho amamo eno so akwanya ne eda ho nti no you can apply to stay or stay with a child who has settled or pre-settled status eno so obetumi apply enti no moma yenhwe na yenye sa application no enke chire still no lawyers no me see lawyers no ho omonim tokro baby adida u beka wasem na baby omode wo be sha ebeyi ena menem nso se nsem ne bebre wo ho a yenka no efidie so mekase yenka na efidie so a nsem ne be wo ho a uka na efidie so a wanhwe a wanu si na handcuff da wonsa because enko it esoro na enko form nanso uko lawyer now can lawyer say na mensem netie kwan bi da ho a mobetumi edi aboa me a omo ye lawyers enti na from law omudima enti omo metumi so aka se wasem se na etie yenim akwan bi a ufa so a ebe ye be fa sa akwan ne so ama unless wasem no dead case dia agenyame no so wo ho agenyame yo the numbers a obetumi afre na wo de ebisa wonsem ewa ha ye 0203-735-8820 and now says 0203-280-185. Your WhatsApp lines me no so betumi so afresh those numbers no so in fact ofre almost so crampo e be me de 077-879-39958 and now 075-966-20154. Ofre numbers 4 in na me wa ha me you no se wo frɛ na se aye engage na kyerɛ se sorry obi gina so na wenya abotre kakra e de amaye saa nso na obetumi asend WhatsApp message in case o frɛ na mba no abone tofa no type WhatsApp message say me kan farmer na obetumi voice note no nso na kyerɛ se WhatsApp ho na no utumi mia speaker na wo ho no wa ka wonsam na egu ho bomode anaka no tietia e ma na nye over 2 minutes ye 2 minutes e do so ya na ha adwen no wa ye ni tietia na odi gu ho nso eno nso metumi abo ama lawyer eyiwa no inti lawyer Patrick wa ha na ye ni ending komo adofo me hu so obi frɛ pa den odo wo friend mentumi amfa sisi ade obetumi afrɛ mefa ama na lawyer eyiwa no Nti yenko ahoma ne so na yenhwe yenua ba ohimba Vicky edu ho dadaada ohimba Vicky echichia mo nyina na oka hello lawyer Patrick menua bema Ezekiel Johnson so edu ho osi lai momo echofi lai he na chese wodofo bi a weja ne fie dadaada no semo amonim ina make nyanse bia na e kan obrofo e kan no afidie so enti obeso okofa wenya indefinite wenya chese wenya we stay kakra ultimately twa ho no obetumi akọfa odofo bi de aba na lawyer eno nso obetumi akọfa oba oba de aba na oba ebia sa oba no o se onya up to 18 and say waburu 18 kakra still out to me ye de ne ba na sa 18-year rule no eda so eginemu a omonsesan lawyer ono betumi yi ano kakra na.
Right, yo manye enti o akwara no we more than 18 years under UK immigration rules no na che say why penny EU de no dey nim say ntesa nti say under UK immigration rules na ugina so e dey akofa akwara na badia then sa akwara no as say oye less than 18 years say akwara no na akofa na bana ohokani bia nka ho a then you are not required to meet 18,600 financial requirement threshold. No.
Okay. Ohono lawyer bosubio. Pacho ohono bosubio mame why?
Okay. It's say okofa akwala e de aba na ohokani enka ho a. Ene na ehia se anase emra no se ehia se obekire se oye adwuma a unya 18,600 de se se okira no se oye adwuma a unya sika nti sa akwala no ba ubetimi a maintain sa akwala na ombeye asudie enda eye UK aban so nti se oye adwuma kakra na otete usika nyina na obi a ebeka mo betimi de ahwe mo ho a then that should be enough ebetimi ama wakofa akwala na ba.
Okay, ono me de enti no eno sa no yenya odofo bi wa homa ne so me file no answer na me bisa me question no. Yo, hello caller, good morning. Legal away. Pacho, your friend say na o kasa efre.
Good morning. If I saw you from me, Jane. Now, if I can be a lawyer, sir. Now, if I
Okay, say afei na noise neko.
Bwf Solicitors is a leading and an award-winning solicitor situated in London. Our expertise in family and matrimonial law encompasses divorce, separation, children matters, family breakdown, and financial orders. We focus on all aspects of immigration law. Our areas of expertise extend to visas for individuals and businesses. These include spouses, students, visitors, EU applications, investors, and more. We also undertake appeals and judicial reviews of negative decisions. We hold Law Society Quality Mark in immigration law. Our family law solicitors are dedicated to finding the most effective and pain-free resolution for our clients through the provision of sensitive, effective, and affordable legal advice. We are also Ghanaian law specialists and have advised many local authorities and other solicitors on aspects of Ghanaian law. We have also advised businesses looking to relocate to Ghana. Our senior partner is dual qualified as a barrister and lawyer in Ghana and a solicitor to the Superior Court of England and Wales. Client satisfaction is our number one priority. This shows the number of positive received from our clients. Bwf Solicitors, your preferred community lawyers. Bwf Solicitors is a leading and an award-winning solicitor situated in London. Our expertise in family and matrimonial law encompasses divorce, separation, children matters, family breakdown, and financial orders. We focus on all
okay, it's for him say yasaba not na yebepa mocho. We apologize for the small we are in yesremo yo yaba Mama Jane na obisa assembly mesre so utume fre 07596620154 and I say 077 879-39958 ne so a ebe okay landline na aye die but we be say ma sheki kakra ntino yo it for maybe a telephone lines no e dey atum obetumi afre na we be so asem na ye koso mi di kan asan akire mo Bwf Solicitors na ye ne omodi dwuma no Bwf Solicitors o hwehwe mo ikira kwan a ehe na obehu Bwf Solicitors yo omo 4th floor ana house omo 4th floor ana house 4th floor ana house e wo hemfa Ewo Seven Sisters Tube Station so Seven Sisters Tube Station so pepepe ubenya 4th floor ana house ewo honum na 214 to 218 High Road ne so omo postcode nso ye North N154NP November 154 November Papa wo de to o tom so a obetumi a drive straight say opese okọ home na o drive ya na e de ne say Tesco bi ben omo office ho obetumi akọ park ho for 90 minutes free ya obetumi di America e de akọ office ho na wakodi unsem wo amra we from e book appointment na say ne be ya udu ho na ya hwe won temtem na odi bus nso na enam dia buses bebre na enam Bwf Solicitors for omo office enim ebi 149 every London Bridge Ebesinko Edmonton enam 7 Sisters Tube Station so 76 enso ewo ho 243 ewo ho 259 so enam ho 279 318 476 sa buses nyina baby bia ufi nyina enam ho into betumi afro na we 7 Sisters Tube Station usi ye na obehu abanso na se odi tube underground ne nama ene ufa Victoria line eye blue color no Victoria line lighter blue no ufa no a ubesi wo 7 Sisters Tube Station usi ye na mesel twetwa weni na kasa ope exit number 2 exit 2 no opie so ho na bebia obepie na opie left opie right obehu sa bansoro bi esi wo sa bansoro no oho na ye ana house na wo 4th floor na mecha na meyi na sa na ma no tro o de fatu phone so na name no Best Lawyers obe name sa telephone number no as Best Lawyers se ne be ya bebia ohia lawyer bibia ohia lawyers na wa frɛ omo 0208 493 7340 Mr. 0208 493 7340 na odisa number no ato kotodwemu ebedi aboa o dachi se nye nempo a obehu se ho beba mfa so yo lawyer Patrick agene biom na mesa apologize for break short one by na telephone yes ano nti mama Jane se wutie mi a Mr. Lawyer Patrick aba obetumi assign ebisa aba obisa wo question obetumi afre telephone line ni bio em say aye ni yesisi a na webisa question na che say yeyi ano okay yo Lawyer Patrick ye koso no na ye bisa osa eka bibi nso about say ukofa ukoware say wo yire uyo bema wa ha na ukoware oba na anaso obema no na owo mma ode ne ma ne nyina eka ho enti no na kyerɛ sɛ ye yiyu die yo kita yiyu passport o anasa ukita immigration die British die na enso so obe na wom sɛ embia me a ye ba be ware me ofie no me mba no ba ko enya 17 ba ko enya 19 sɛ me ye yiyu ni a still emra no ema ho kwan se metumi di nipa ko a wenya over 18 no aba ana se ye immigration na se yi British for there na eno no yenye hu se yesi 18 de no aye adult enti se oye me bakra na me na me hwe na no de yesi wate ne ho enti yiyu de no ene British de no nsusu so ben ene wom se ya be ware me womba enti na je se nipa ko a be ware me na ba no ma eno oba me ne omo nyina eba mpacho obetumi akire mu kakra ewo ho amame.
Right, okay, so manya welcome back. You have a patch it tifo nyina achel any omo here no you have pom nyina achel so technical problems kakra but omo fante in himself sana adwuma no sometimes it's here. And to back to a question no in susua eda EU any UK immigration rules no any say o akola na or over 18 saying it here. Now under EU emrano say o akola na we below 21 eba sa akola no in share ni kire say ehun hia say obetre say o na wo hwe no So that is number one. Number two, say akwala edi abro more than 21 emra still ema wo ho kwan say ubetimi di sa akwala no aba. Nembom the esesa wo kire ne say sa akwala no wo na wo hwe no. Nti na chese wo hwe mu a te say ye ubisa ye akwala yekofa sebe ne maame aba ana step for yekofa ne maame aba. Now, what people 21 no, as I said, you say, Sakwala, young and a shell, and a neighbor. So maybe less than 21 there. Then I won't hear say a better sir. And that UK immigration rules, no, so the 18 years there. Not just a man say, Wababa ye penimo, Wababa ye penimo, it says, so kofana bar, and no susuno enye. Say, Otikroha. Ena wujina no so edi aye bibi anase ebia ena no so nti yama wo first 2.5 years emna no still ema ho kwan se obetimi agina sa akwala no so even though awanya 18 to renew your application. Now what you need to show no sa akwala no is not living an independent life and on one kasa informal relationship into no sebi even though already 18 years no or so eshe ununase. Your case law, it say akwala 18 years, it doesn't necessarily mean say wababa ye penimu. Inti sana case no etie. But you the end day, so when you're above 21, ubetimi aba, or less than 21, ubetimi aba. And so you say what say nipa okofa aba no, and now say obusuafo no, omo na show. About 21 into a channel, and so it's evidence. Baby, I would say, a nipa and a higher amount. Ebi o manu sika ma o de show ho suku community bibia wo na wo ye. Sana asem no etie. And also so no ehun hia say ubemiti any financial requirement. In fact, accommodation is not a requirement. But anya den a mo be mo bedidi. Anya den a mo be baby wo ho a esesa moda. Nti ni nyina no o de ka ho na ahyewasem no mu ekena. Immigration rules no different. And no the Sakwala the 18 untimi. Name so less than 18. Now kofa on your mame and now papa na ba. Then as a say umiti sa threshold now the akwala no beba. Or mame 18,006. Akwala ba ko beka 3,800. Any extra time be can be 2,400. And then you top it up. So yes sir nkuntego na hwe nkwala dodo a opese odo moba. Now, all the atoto usika unya hono ahwese saa sika no ebeso ana ebiana isika no nso a ubetumi do mu nyina ba enne but ekire bi na maame na beka ho na wahye ase ye adwuma obeka ho a mo ye adwuma mo mienu mu nyina mu sika no ubetumi aka abom ama na dɔɔso na nkwala na aka no motumi akwa akɔfa amaba under the same rules no and requirements because mo ware dada na okofa saa nkwala na aka na ba. The consideration will be under Appendix FM rules na se okofa anka okofa one omami anaso opapa no ediaba. So we kontonkro ena waba ena okofa akwala no diaba dia. Then the requirement ni say akwala no other parent no enka ho ha. It so shows say sole responsibility for that child. And no na ya na edin semba no. But anything, so you'll be out to Sana or Sati be anymore. And yeah, dear, as so usuro. And one said, obey approach Oma, Omu there. Nay, a mount a country steps are obeteki, Sabaya, obetimide Apalano, Ababe Council. Now, on also so etimi, say Ninianum or her, or Ninianum, etimi Abobo, Brano, and the Abo.
Okay, abonten so. Yo. Okay, yenye adofo bi wa homa ne so na ma end 0569. Pacho o wa homa so. Your friend say na o ka se friend adofo.
Hello, morning. Pacho your friend me Kwame me free meeting king.
Bra Kwame, Pacho lawyer wa habisa na asem ne onko. Why?
You me da. Pacho me pese me busa lawyer Patrick say me ko fa me yere ifri Ghana e buy. na since we January we adwuma asset we COVID nti we member fee nti we up to now no me adwuma nti me it can be a support to be embed me yere so ebe renew ne we visa no we December na ni P system no eba ye no ye onya ye no we 18,000 nuru 18,000 we 600 no nti na me busa se ebe de na metimi we renew.
Okay, Lawyer Patrick. Mpacha ote menia be me nka.
Okay, me take kakra. Also, Nejuma said because of COVID
Neo kaya ne say okofa ne yire ebaye na emre asu say ne yire bekwa akọ renew ni 2.5 no ana ni nkrata no na mom fiti January no ono be ma na ohwe ne yire ne ka ho ohwe ne yire no from January no COVID-19 adwuma say nti from January up to time ne yire be edu so okọ renew no onye adwuma bia nti oni sika ana say on any that amount of sika na ye de ka ho. However no ne yire no etumi ayi enya adwuma ono wa any 18,000 nti na ye say ne de ne 600 ne enka ho. Nti obisa say Kwame say metia na wa correct me why obisa say obetumi ne yire no ono a wanye adwuma up to that period ne yire no betumi agina ono ne sika ne so ana kwan be no betumi anye 600 na atosin no on betumi agina so no mo de akwakoye nkrata no a renew or na ye mo extension.
Okay. COVID by yedim say ahonse na edi abre obia nti obi oho a ye fellow no obi so oho because of COVID no you're making it redundant not as in adwuma abo no ni nyina ye some of the impact ni effect COVID no edi abre and the home office understands this into the home office I say so you be a or start to be animal not because of COVID intino e bia wadwuma say and intino do renewal na untimi meet requirements na then obe demonstrate say because of COVID intino wadwuma say yen we dey okay a typical example you betimi dey actually COVID and I'm so am na adwuma say but ono dey team po aye ne yire aye adwuma onya 18,000 aka 600 ombetimi aka omo resources abom na before COVID no see ye come back near the whole year's salary na ya say sa whole year no ye keka ni nyina boma enka sa time na all your application and say nka COVID ama and nka all your application na nka be meet financial requirement na here my presumption is that the answer no will be yes it is so can on na yire sika no bom na who say ebedu 18,006 now then obey okay now we make your application and home office ebe allow it's no problem as I say we are near me if you are maybe a while for say we which is fine but it told you dana who say near maybe more technicalities now he said obi sprinkle spices kakradia ka ho then mafutu no say approach obia onim adwuma na all ye no na ommoa e was akwan no so yes
Okay yo Kwame nti wenya ommoa ye question bi wo ho bi ma na
so man in the year when na men
radio ne mo nti fatu so na tie why
you know you radio mu
oh Kwame
me say radio
emre no so ko me sa ka say me radio Lawyer Patrick Kaya na che say yen 4 minutes ne be ko bi nso gina so enti opa me fra after the program ma chechu mu why
you okay you
me da say
bye
odofo wa homa so say akayen just 3 minutes I be ko mpacho ye fra say na o kasa free ma yente wonka
my good morning
me do
pacho pomti say we di ma menye ne kwe lawyer anope me chia tie fu nyina nso Me wo assemble kun bi ebisa. I'm say minia application. Na enra na omudi decision ebaye. To be honest, decision is a bit flimsy, and to be honest, it doesn't make sense to me. Pastor lawyer, what you mean?
So me.
Yes, opening tone. Yeah.
Yeah, decision no was not to me the reasonable because omu yisu bibi say nipa no sponsor no oba, but in the refusal note no omu stating say he. Meanwhile, nipa no so our sponsor nominia no oba. Wono oba no akoko waru ni kunu. Nti anka instead of she no or in the note no omu yisu he. But question omu say ni signature wo na yin so different from wo meaning that technicalities are omu yusu refuse amount for and omo mbisa according to omo no omo mbisa question about ebia family background no bema no ewo emma miensa oba no nim ne mani nyina because oba na missing kwa no ne kwa nyina ye fan wo pre omo it will nim kwa nyina din but in this case no omo e aba say oba na ntimi ammo enkura ni din mewa enkura no so no mo ye very close to my men no mo ka say da bia. Okay, in this case no say ebia asem no ye appeal obetinya request for tape no an because ensem no mo ka no ye ntro omo decision no I mean it has been a very
medase utie from beginning I say lawyer Patrick can be say yes why ya refuse because MBI is signature entwa MBI say once am now can enko ye nyina akwenya ho na lawyer Patrick be you are no why flower be you are no okay you.
That's my opinion.
Right. Okay. Yeah, better opinion. I say now. Nitia means so we application at the home office now move refuse. So all options be brave. Even say obey appeal. Even say obey judge. Even say obey administrative review. So all those options are there. And whichever route you choose, and on the discretion. For me, from where I sit, my position is say okay application at home office refuse. So long as you have the appeal right now, in your instant case, what application, home office was a be signature and another signature. Two different documents. I mean, for me and from here as a firm, we see it's a BBA home office, ABA. All can not the refusal.
Patrick, hold on.
Appeal against this decision.
Patrick, hold on 1 minute, mommy.
Confidence. Appeal now. The decision from the home office will be turned over. And importance. Over now or approach it in before. Now, appeal against the decision at the amount, including inquiry. So your refusal based on any reason at all would be able to challenge it. Now you're overturning at the amount.
Yo, lawyer you are no sisiano mesremo ye call off the radio ne de yemre aso e call off automatic na Facebook ni YouTube no na mesre lawyer no nche just 5 minutes bi keke na yemfen yi ye last question na technical we na ba entama yemre no yenya more callers yo odofo bi wa homa so mpacho mema ho kwan na we bisa question quick se ne be ya betimi di program na be wi mpacho e fra o se na o ka se free
mpacho e fra bi Sam
bra Sam yo mpacho lawyer wa ha o tie o bisa wa se
me fra free the woman say just last week we omo refuse me based on the cousin that were honomo apply almost say me almost refuse almost say my application is void.
Yo, lawyer Patrick, minim emseni we an article, but he was able to mention exactly what was written on the paper. Or see the application, you refuse to see the application was void. And lawyer Patrick, when we have instances like this, no, Mr. Odiana ubet mefuto bena udibemana amaye.
Right. So what we've picked up from, cases are a free home office, but said the union can. The fact that back in the days now, COVID, no, home office for sometimes no more shate embassies no or different locations. Into now, untimi enquire or fingerprints any at the other. Into a minimum applications. Hold on for sometimes over 6 months. No to me or Monsano. We had those challenges with some of our clients as well. And almost so application be more than data application or to me and show as a software application for. We challenge them and then almost say, okay, so sanity there, you might call back. It's call for. Yes, on application they all went back, and majority of them were granted. I'm do chroma. It's no me sure say you are bearman. Decision I the amount no sabi energy. Say we are okoya application because of COVID into when you acquire anchor born and home office any assistance. So, but for us that is not right. Obey me challenge the decision, and then we would take it from there and make sure say. Application akọbọ nsa no se ne so ye
Yo, Lawyer Patrick Edasi, before me ma kwan na odi yen last note abre no. Emre na ye ka say me kofa me kunu aba me sika na endo 18 nti na me kunu wosika bebre a ono no nka obetimi de need account e ba say enye onto me immigration mra ne say onto me na obi bisa say ayembia o eja ono ehye no hui so ono ma me chop money a we all know say ja yenkroma ware ne de obema bo akohoma na ye ka ne say yes enti no tigana so bo me akohoma akohoma ewa ha say enti no say opompo sika nketinketi bi e de ma me di to account me. So in this case you could see maybe in my statement ni say busumi bia na otwi bia mekunu ebre misika ebeka misika ho wa ha. Now can they also take that particular and I said those accounts into consideration say o menye sika bi e free ha nti no ye de ne nyina aka ho a metumi anya 186 na Lawyer Patrick.
Okay, into rules no ma ho kwan says savings are do a certain threshold. Yes, obetimi the SARS savings no at the account. Into se mami anaya papa o savings are obetimi the actually say SARS sika ono ani sika waboabo ano a or they are said or they train rainy season now use then yes obetimi abu nkonta na or the account. Except that SARS threshold very high. So you are talking about over 60 something thousand pounds thereabout based on the calculations. I'll have to do that for you. But then that is what you are looking at to meet that requirement. Yes.
Yo, it's here for I'm saying the Jumediana Abbey, and Miss Ramoni Dim Nimsenken and never the pan in almost 10 minutes out of our time. I think 12 minutes out of our time. Nina technical problem. Mufanche ye hope say day in and day we are improving to next week, enko banisa. Yo, ya baby yana sana mema lawyer who kwaina or the last note e de amaye no me bomu nka ye se nyankopon ye adom se ne adom no ode dom ye de bia no ochna the community and the law no ebeba so na onim ne e de wo mu ne se ochna no ye se e baso wo Trent Park na ye Ghana party in the park. So we are bringing the law into the community. Even omudi omagro mun bonyum edi asa edi de nekra the law no ho. So make a date say who say when we stand question bia edawo trimu a opese ubisa lawyers bia ya no waba stand no ho no waba be bisa sa question lawyers ni nyina e wo ho ombe yiwa no fefefe ochina Ghana party in the park e wo Trent Park court firsters the community and the law no baso the same chese ochina de ye ho afibo until ye bedundum kanea enti no Monshane so na monka ye ho ye besa streaming live on Facebook ye besa streaming live on YouTube enti no utifie kra na still no unto me emba Trent Park na you definitely see what's going on over there enti no eno ye plus ana bonus ema ye nyina o hwehwe BWF Solicitors abo modern akọ 7 Sisters Tube Station no omo wo ho no fa buses ana fa underground echo 7 Sisters usi ya ana house 4th floor omo wo ho omeba biyi omo nsa na emmo mesrem ewom se ye biebie nioma e de atom de na ade ba kwa mesre se o ya frɛ na book appointment na ebe ya okwa ye behwe wontem onkonko tenase a na wo twen se obi bewie ne nsem ansa na wo so edro so book frɛ 0208 493 7340. Even though you're walking, no, but ubuki appointment na ode kwa ebedi aboa wankasa na ebeboa lawyers na nso se omehwe at the right time. Intino mesremo monhye ne so la Patrick fache yemre no koye bebre intino yentumi piepie nyoma na ye hope se nyame adoma next week ebese nya na yatoa enkomonkomo ne de pa na nso enti ye be sorry akwa ansa na we meet tomorrow nyame adoma mpacho eden na adubeja yen ni etiefo na ye de ahye enkotodwem misrel.
Right. Okay, Manye. Thank you very much. Tiefo edamase. Ene mo amhwe nyina so edamase. Now, you free halfway. The can say 7-year rule no edaso ye adwuma. Enti mema wadwene emu enye won tanta. Se o pese your application na me pacho emma bibia nsi okwan. Emma sikasem titiri ensi okwan because nyame adom the case of legacy say ubetimi aye bibia ye freno fee waiver na ye de fees no e de achel sa category of application no follow under sa ye home office and she na omodi aba no take advantage men ka say untimi nye ubetimi aye and na fie na wa onye ma obi a onimde no onimde o ye emoa na ye because mpempi no ye encourage say ebi a adesua wanya nti ubetimi aye but ebi so ho a na niema nkitinkiti bi wo mu a ebia na wa ankasa wantimi ankoye eho adwuma eno sa no se wo di pinchen obi a obetimi ahwe na waboa wo sa kwan so kai hu se eyewo ene wo busua edaache nti ma eho ehia o wo sa kwan so apeso so ya ye EU fo a ye wo krom ha na ya ba betena ye wo settlement scheme no so no akwagya no da so wo ho se ye de ye busuafo beba ye yire ye ma ye maame ye papa nyina ye betimi edi omu nyina aba be kan ye ho akwagya no eda so wo still even after June 2021 it is still young person nya applications no emfanko say unim de area again pinchen lawyer bi na ommoa Bwf Solicitors and American formal say obi a ye refuse application a mesrel maintain na you refuse to Ghana or 28 days to appeal. You refuse to UK or 14 days to appeal. Shall you not sentence because home office for any your friends say tribunal to see how my dimpa and in about 2 minutes Ghana one here on that one so it's in patcho say unya decision na men na entwentwen na ase fa pinchen obi na wonhwem e bia de ususu se oya wonhwia enye yi no o de kodan manim ni a obehwem na waka cho se we ni ntino ebeyi na se we fakoto to yi na yenye application na nko na ebeyi ntimo insurance na monye ne sa o ba okrom ha or limited leave to remain under EU settlement scheme na sia obetimi agina sa akala no so na watena ha o obi a o limited leave to remain under EU a obetimi akwa kofa ohukani Africa na ba insurance so Sani nyina ewo honom afeso so yehu se omo application go Ghana and immigration rules no ansana inside na ba no bebre wo a afe no ya sha se trotro omo se ya the visa no ma okra na enya ade a obetimi di atukwan because time na twam pacho unya bibisa memmohu fa pinchen a lawyer for fa pinchen Bwf Solicitors na yenhwem na yenma akwankyere yenkyerɛkyerɛ enema mu nkyerɛw na yenfa kwan a yɛde home office bɛfa so because yehunu saa nea yi bi no yɛ device plan any strategy a yɛbɛhyɛ aseɛ any home office atwe no dendenden adi no nyonyonyonyonyonyo omunim nti me sure sɛ ɔmbɛda ɔmo so na ɔmbɛhwɛ atwɛn sɛ Bwf Solicitors letterhead or what, but you can form a tree for who will be sir, member show, bra. Now you 200 more, na more because a you if you are now extended family member, the amount. So home office say the amount right now ultimate to crime because time let baby no correct. Ubetimi aba. Ti bomode na ma renim for enhwemu emfama na mo kwan a obetimi afa so a ebeyi na yewu na ye de aseda kese ebema atiefo ne adofo enyina ye da ye technical team na se ye da oku the technical director and afi Professor Adai onu na wetin team fidi ama ye da na se executive producer lawyer Bernard Owusu senior partner and a principal Bwf Solicitors ye da na se say mama program ni aye possible and afi the entire team will Bwf Solicitors na etayechi Magneti and a GN Radio team ni nyina so no yedamas special thank you to the team will Bwf Solicitors and we na office na the year pa into no yedamas any munyam sha omudi ahye for me especially massive thank you to the partners, the entire team, Madam Angie, my lovely mommy, and everybody else in the team, both here and Ghana. For your support and the help, everything that you have spent throughout, a bit of crisis that we had in the United I hope that's God bless you.
God bless you too, Lawyer Patrick Nyamensra. Yedasi. Ahana edi dwumedie no bebe ye tiefo. Ya no esi. Monhwe menim Sunday. Nyame ya adoma me do manyaba show ebeba mo akwan. Ya no esi. Enti mwanti yanke bima ene. Next week na sene. Mo bese hwe. Meanwhile no tena monhwe yenim ewo Trent Park, Cock Fosters, Ghana Party in the Park, the community and the law. We are going there live and colored. Nyamisha ina.
You've turned my pit into a well, so the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. Adum, Wadum. I've been through a lot, but grace sustained me. My test is now a testimony. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. Adum, Wadum. It was you, my lawyer in that courtroom. It was you, my soldier on that battlefield. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. Adum, Wadum.